All right. I know you guys will be wondering what I'm doing in the bush. Yeah, I know you'll be wondering what I'm doing in the bush. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you will know the reason why I'm here. And please, as many of you that are watching me, please, before the end of this year, I want you to do 3 things for me. Before the end of this year, before the end of 2025, please, I want you to do these 3 things for me. These 3 things that I'm about to mention now. If you do these 3 things, you have more reasons to thank God. You have more reasons to appreciate God. Number 1, please, before the end of this year, try to visit a hospital. Try to visit a hospital before the end of this year. Why did I say you should try to visit the hospital? Honestly, if you go to the hospital, you will realize that life is a precious thing. Life is actually a precious thing. There are people who are begging God just for them to have an appetite to eat. There are people for months they have not even eaten anything. There are people, if you go to the hospital, some of them, their legs are hanged in one corner or the other. There are people who are praying for them to use these eyes to see as you're seeing. There are people who are praying for them to use this hand to do things as you're doing. Yeah. There are people, they cannot even eat from their mouth. They have opened another channel by which they eat. There are people who are not urinating with their private part. Maybe they connected one pipe or the other in order for them to urinate. Honestly, this should give you reason for you to thank God more. That is why I say try to visit a hospital. If you go to the hospital, you will know that God is good to you. I'm telling you. Number 2 thing that I want you to do before the end of this year, try to visit a prison yard. You know, most times you wake up every day, you go out, you come back, you go out, you come back, you go from east, west, north and south, you come back, you have your freedom of movement. There are people who have been restricted from going out. They have been locked up in one particular room for years. The other day I was watching a video, they were celebrating a man who has been in prison yard for 40 years. 40 good years. For 40 years, this man has been restricted from his freedom of movement. For 40 good years, this man has been restricted from his freedom of movement. See, they that are inside that place, they are praying for them to give them the freedom you have in order for them to move around. But you have that freedom. The first time I went to the police station, the police cell, honestly, that day, I realized that for you to have the freedom of movement is another thing. It seems like it was another word. That place is another word itself. Although I spent just a day there, but it was another word. Honestly. So, please, before the end of this year, try to visit a prison yard. Yeah. And the last and not the least, this one is very, very important. It's very vital. Very, very essential. So please, before the end of this year, try to visit a mortuary. Try to visit a mortuary. Honestly, if you go inside the mortuary, if you go there, you will realize people like you flesh and blood, how they are lying down lifeless. Millionaires are there, billionaires are there, beautiful people are there, handsome people are there. They are lying lifeless. If you go inside the mortuary, you will have more than a reason to appreciate life. Yeah. We don't have VIPs inside mortuary, not at all. There are no VIPs. Everybody is equal. So you that is bragging with your wealth, the day life is taken out from you, the same place that poorest man in the world is lying down, that is the same place they will lie you down. That sounds so funny, right? But that's the honest truth. So please, before the end of this year, do these 3 things. By the time you do these 3 things, you will have more reasons to thank God for life. You will have more reasons. At least every single day of your life, try to appreciate life. Try to appreciate God. I greet you. Thank you. Please follow this page. Follow my page for more. I love you. Have a nice day.